오늘은 여러분과 그냥 자유롭게 대화하는 시간입니다.
So this is just a casual conversation.
어떤 특정한 종교나 철학적 이념에 의해서 대화하는 것이 아니라 우리가 살아가는 삶의 문제를 갖고 대화하려고 합니다.
So it's not a dialogue constrained by any ideology or religion. We just like to talk about life in general.
네, 그러니까 여러분께서 궁금한 게 있거나 고민이 있으면 그냥 대화를 했으면 좋겠습니다.
So if you're curious about something, if you have a dilemma you'd like to discuss, feel free to kind of voice those.
네, 시작하시죠.
So let's start.
Bad things happen to good people. And I have tried to forgive and not think about it, but I continue to think about it and I can't let it go. I need to get peace. How do I achieve peace with what has happened to me that was not good?
좋은 마음을 갖는 것과 좋은 일이 일어나는 것은 반드시 일치하지 않습니다.
So it's not necessarily aligned, the fact that you have a good intention and that good results come of it. You know, those two are not necessarily aligned.
좋은 마음을 갖고 좋은 행동을 한다고 반드시 결과가 좋다 이렇게 말할 수는 없습니다.
Just because you act out of good intention doesn't mean the result is always good either.
만약에 그렇게 생각한다면 그 생각이 잘못됐기 때문에 실망이 큰 것입니다.
So if you think good intent leads to good results, then you have the wrong expectations how things work, and that will lead to disappointment.
그러면 좋은 일을 할 필요가 없는가 이렇게 질문할 수도 있겠습니다.
Then that begs the question, then is there no need to act in a goodly fashion?
아닙니다. 좋은 일을 하는 게 좋습니다.
No, that's not so. Doing good deeds is good.
두 가지 이유에 있습니다.
That's because of two reasons.
좋은 일을 했을 때 결과가 좋을 거냐, 나쁜 일을 했을 때 결과가 좋을 거냐 하면 좋은 일을 했을 때가 결과가 좋을 확률이 조금 높습니다.
And all has to do with probabilities. Acting out of good intent is more probable to lead to good results than acting out of bad intent.
그래서 우리는 조금 더 확률이 높은 쪽을 선택을 합니다.
So that's why, we always choose the way that has more probability of good results happening.
두 번째는 좋은 일을 할 때는 내가 좋습니다. 그래서 결과에 관계없이 좋은 일을 하는 게 좋습니다.
And second, doing things out of good intent, doing good deeds is good for me. So I engage in good deeds because I realize it's good for me.
근데 우리가 좋은 일을 하면 결과가 좋다라고 그것을 너무 기계적으로 잘못 생각하기 때문에 왜 나는 좋은 일을 하고 착하게 살았는데 나쁜 결과가 왔느냐 이런 의문이 생기고 괴로움이 생깁니다.
But we tend to mechanically associate good intent with good results, and that leads to disappointment, and that goes converse to our original intent.
이것이 착한 사람들이 갖는 괴로움이에요.
And this is usually the nature of suffering that people who are good suffer from.
예를 들어서 제가 말씀드려 볼게요.
For example,
제가 이분에게 칭찬을 했다.
so I give this lady a praise.
그러면 저분이 나한테 반드시 칭찬하느냐? 그렇지 않습니다.
But that doesn't mean that she's going to praise me in return.
칭찬을 했는데도 불구하고 비난을 받을 수도 있어요.
She may actually criticize me despite the fact that I just praised her.
그 저분이 잘못됐느냐? 그렇지 않습니다.
Does that mean that she's wrong? No, that's not so.
이것은 자연스러운 현상입니다.
It's a very natural phenomena.
그럼 내가 이분께 칭찬했을 때와 이분을 비난했을 때 저분이 나한테 칭찬할 확률과 비난할 확률을 계산해 보면 내가 칭찬할 때 칭찬을 받을 확률이 조금 높습니다.
However, the possibility that she's going to say nice things about me when I praise her is probably higher than when I criticize her.
그렇기 때문에 저는 칭찬을 하는 게 저한테 유리합니다.
That's why it's more advantageous for me to praise her.
질문하신 분의 얘기를 들어보면 내가 왜 칭찬을 했는데 저 사람은 나를 비난할까? 이렇게 생각하시는 것 같아요.
So when I hear you, what you just said, your questions, I tend to think that you might be asking, why did I do something good, but bad things happened to me?
네, 그것은 그냥 자연스러운 현상입니다.
But that's a natural phenomena.
내가 칭찬하는 것은 내 마음이고 저 사람이 나를 비난하는 것은 그 사람의 마음입니다.
Because what I do out of good intent is my intent, and how that person responds out of my intent is that person's intent.
But I feel very hurt.
그러니까 내가 칭찬했는데 상대가 비난했다. 그러니까 내가 칭찬했는데 어떻게 내가 비난할 수 있느냐 이렇게 생각하니까 상처가 되는 거고요. 저 사람은 나를 비난할 수가 있다 이렇게 생각하면 상처 자체가 안 됩니다.
So the hurt is a result of your expectations that good intent must be replied with something good. If you let go of that expectation itself, your injury does not actually become an injury. You will not be hurt.
비난받는 게 싫습니까?
You don't like to be criticized?
Oh, no, it's fine.
그럼 어떤 게 나쁜 일입니까?
So what is it that hurt you? More specifically.
When people are being dishonest or they pretend like they're your friend and then you turn around and they're not your friend, and really they're saying bad things about you, and you just do a lot of good things for them and other people, and that's hurtful when you find out that your friend isn't really your friends.
제가 지금 이렇게 좋은 얘기를 합니다.
So I said good things right now.
그러나 여러분들이 제 얘기를 듣고 다 좋은 건 아니에요.
But that doesn't mean all of you agree or is pleased with what I said.
아주 좋은 사람도 있고 별로 기분이 안 좋은 사람도 있을 수 있습니다.
There are people who fully agree with me. There are those who don't.
그러면 기분이 좋지 않는 사람의 경우에
So for those who doesn't agree,
이 앞에서 나 기분 나쁘다. 왜 너 이런 얘기 하니? 이렇게 할 수도 있고요.
and that person can stand up and say, what you say is all BS. Why are you saying such things?
그렇지 않으면
Or
돌아가면서 그냥 차 타고 가면서 친구들에게 에이, 별 재미가 없더라. 별 얘기 안 하더라. 이렇게 뒷담화를 할 수도 있습니다.
Or that person might not voice but their displeasure, but on the way back inside cars with their family and friends, they say, hey, that was no big deal. I wasted my time.
어떤 게 더 낫습니까?
What's better?
지금 이 자리에서 저를 비난하는 게 낫습니까? 돌아가면서 자기들끼리 비난하는 게 낫습니까?
Is it better for that person to stand up and criticize me right now, or criticize me when I'm not around, on their way back?
Not right now.
정말
That
그렇습니다.
would be rude and very disrespectful and not the way of my culture to do that.
So it's worse to criticize him right now.
Right.
지금 비난.
그렇습니다. 그러니까 그 사람이 지금 저를 비난하지 않는 것은 저를 배려해서 그렇게 비난하지 않는 것.
So you can say that the fact that person did not stand up and voice his displeasure at me right here in public was that he was actually thinking of my welfare.
그러니까 뒷담화는 굉장히 나를 배려해서 하는 겁니다.
So perhaps you can think this way, that people criticizing me without me knowing about it was an act of kindness to me.
그러니까 그건 기분 나빠할 이유가 없습니다.
So I should not be displeased.
그러니까 뒷담화하는 사람이 있으면 친구가 뒷담화할 수 있느냐 이렇게 생각하지 말고 나를 배려해서 내가 친구라고 배려해서 뒤에서 얘기했구나 이렇게 좋게 생각하죠.
So people talking about behind your backs, badly behind your back, perhaps you can take that as a sign of friendship rather, because that person is thinking of not to, hurt you in front of your face.
It's a good way of looking at it.
그러니까 이렇게 생각하면 좋다가 아니라 이게 사실입니다.
So I'm not saying that that's the way to think in order to make yourself feel good. I'm saying that's how people act. That's how people, behave.
그렇기 때문에 사람들은 이렇게 앞에서 비난하기보다는 뒤에서 비난하는 일이 많습니다.
So that's why more people talk behind your back, criticize you when you're not around rather than criticize you to your face.
그것은 다른 사람을 배려해서 그렇게 합니다.
So in a way, they're actually thinking of you.
물론 비난 안 하면 더 좋죠.
Of course, not criticizing or not talking behind your back is better.
So why don't they just come to me in a one-on-one and have a conversation about what they don't like or prefer I not do or say?
근데 이렇게 이 사람에게 불만이 있을 때 내가 가서 불만을 표현하기가 좀 불편하잖아요.
So it's because that's very uncomfortable, right? It's very uncomfortable to approach somebody one-on-one and say something not nice about them.
어때? 자기는 불편하네요.
Don't you feel uncomfortable doing that?
No?
자기는 그런지 모르지만 대다수는 상대편에게 불만을 토로하기가 약간 좀 불편합니다.
So you might not feel that discomfort, but I think majority of people are very uncomfortable and unskilled in voicing criticism one-on-one.
그래서 다른 사람에게 좀 불만을 좀 편하게 할 수 있는 데 가서
So they tend to find the space or the time in which they can voice their complaints about that person without having to face that immediate consequence.
그래서 그것은 사람들의 자연스러운 이게 심리를 볼 때는 자연스러운 현상이에요.
So it's a very natural and widespread behavior for human beings.
그래서 한국에는 옛날부터 이런 말이 있습니다.
So there's an old saying in Korea.
임금도 없는 자리에서는 욕한다.
That even the kings are criticized when they're not around.
옛날에 임금은 욕하면 안 되는 사람.
Because kings were absolute monarchs back then. You were not allowed to criticize them.
그런데 뭐 자기 임금도 아니잖아요.
But you're not a queen, right? You're nor a king.
Oh, shucks.
자기가 내 없는 자리에서 비난받기 싫다면 자기는 약간 과대망상증이 자기는 임금보다도 더 높다는 얘기.
So you might be suffering from illusions of grandeur if you think you don't deserve to be criticized behind your back.
Yeah, I would like a person to come and talk to me face to face. And I usually would say, I need to share this with you because I want them to see me as an honest person and a fair person and to know what I think or I'm feeling.
그렇게 하면 좋죠.
So that would be the preferred way.
저도
of
그거
course.
찬성합니다.
And I fully agree that that's the best
근데
way.
모든 사람이 다 그렇지가 못하다.
But what I'm saying that most people do not behave such.
이게 현실인 거로.
And that's what the reality is.
그 사람이 나와 같지 않다.
Because that person will not behave as you would.
본인은 지금 다른 사람도 나처럼 되라고 주장합니다.
Basically what you're saying is that you want that person to act like you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
네.